I'm Michelle from Legal Suite, and this is part 9 of the Docgen database, the Deceased Estate tab. Now, please note that I've already captured my matter together with all my parties, and if you need some assistance on this, please do have a look at our webinar on how to create a deceased estate matter. Okay, so here I am standing on my matter. I go into the Docgen database, and I go to my Deceased Estate tab, which is over here. Now, please note that the Deceased Estate tab will only appear in the event of a deceased estate transfer, not a deceased estate sale by means of an agreement of sale, but a transfer in terms of an endorsement, either in terms of Section 45(1), in terms of the Intestate Succession Act, or by means of an antenuptial contract. Okay, so let's deal with testate. So if our deceased was testate, there was a will in play at the time of his death, and obviously we are now transferring in terms of that will. Right, so date of death, we pop in the date of death of the deceased. So pop in that date over there. The estate value, this would obviously be in terms of the LND account. So we can pop value in there. The date of our will, when was the will executed? Okay. And where was the will signed? See, let's pop that in capitals. Right. Now, clause number, this is the clause that deals with the distribution of property between the heirs. Okay, so we can pop in the clause number. And here at the wording, you need to insert the verbatim wording of the clause of the will. There's no need to insert the inverted commas. The program will do that automatically when the clause is merged into your endorsement document. So I'm just going to pop in some wording. Okay, so in goes the clause of the will. Now, at estate in favor of, this is where you would insert in who is to inherit. Now, this would either be the surviving spouse, son, daughter, grandchildren, heirs, etc., etc. Now, please do remember that we have a lookup library. Click on the lookup library here. You can see I've inserted son, daughter, heir, a surviving spouse, etc. So I'm going to grab surviving spouse. I'm going to say select. You can, of course, always type this in manually. And then if the property formed an asset in a joint estate, you would simply put a tick in the checkbox as follows. Okay. Now, if your deceased died intestate without a will, we would put a tick in that radio button there. Okay. This little checkbox, if for any reason the Intestate Succession Act does not apply, please insert a check at the checkbox there, and it will grey out the various sections of the Act dealing with inheritance. Okay, if this is not the case, we leave that unchecked. And again, as with testate succession, we insert the date of death and the value of the estate. Now, in terms of the sections of the Intestate Succession Act, you need to select which section applies. So we pop in the section number, and again, at Estate CASA, we will need to insert verbatim the wording of the section of the Act. And once again, we do have a lookup library, so you can go into the lookup library, capture each of these of the sections, the wording, so that you don't have to type it out each time you have an intestate succession transfer of an estate. And again, so let's just put in here, Estate CASA here, okay. And once again, in whose favor is who is receiving a portion of the property or the property. And once again, at the lookup library, you can select surviving spouse, son, daughter, granddaughter, sibling, whoever is inheriting in terms of intestate succession. And again, if the property was part of a joint estate, you would simply pop in the tick into the checkbox.